This week we have entered the saddest period for Klal Yisrael on our national calendar, namely the 9 days. And during the 9 days, of course, we manifest the fact that we are in Avelis, that we are in mourning for the loss of both Batei Mikdash and so much more. We cease eating meat or wine. There is no simcha. We don't do laundry. We no longer shave or take haircuts. And we work our way towards Tisha B'Av when we actually sit on the ground in a state of Avelis, in a state of genuine mourning. And a question that has long been raised and is addressed so beautifully by the Rav Zatzal, Rav Soloveitchik, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha, is that how do we possibly mourn for something that occurred 2 millennia ago, thousands of years ago? Question number one. Question number two that I raised as well is, this year's 9 days, we find ourselves in a period of Avelis when Eretz Yisrael is in Avelis for that which occurred on October 6th. And how is it possible that those young men, sons and brothers, husbands, wives, daughters, siblings, enter into Gaza, doing what they have to do, seeing the carnage that is in front of their eyes, and seeing people die veritably every single day? How do they do it? How did they possibly get through the day? And I believe the answer is in the Sedra, of course, of this week. In Parshas Devarim, we are told by Chazal that Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Klal Yisrael, not simply is he reviewing that which occurred before him, Mishnah Torah, but he is doing so at the beginning of the Sefer in a way that is veiled, that masks the tochacha, the rebuke that he is giving them prior to his death. And one of the psukim in this week's Sedra states, Adonai Eloheinu diber eleinu b'chorev lemar, HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned to Klal Yisrael, says Moshe Rabbeinu, to us, saying, Rav lachem sheves b'har hazeh. You have been here at Har Sinai following the granting of the Torah for a year, and it's a long time. It's time to move on. According to some, it's time to move on from the receipt of the Torah Kadosha, and it's time to move on to put that which has been received by Har Sinai into play. Shmiras HaMitzvos, entering the land of Israel. But comes along the Kli Yakar, and the Kli Yakar suggests, he says, we know that the Gemara tells us, Rav lachem sheves b'har hazeh. It's been so long that you've stayed by this Har Sinai, and you have tried to leave. You want to get away. It's too much time spent there already. Like a child waiting for the bell to ring at the end of class, to bolt from the classroom, because it's a little too much what the Rebbe had to teach us. Says the Kli Yakar, Rav lachem sheves b'har hazeh. Kadosh Baruch Hu told Klal Yisrael, it's been too long for you. For me, it's been too short. I so much desired that you would have experienced that which occurred on Har Sinai as a moment of flash, something that went by way too quickly, like a bar mitzvah or a bas mitzvah or a bris or a wedding. With all of the planning, of months of planning, goes by between 4 to 6 hours, and it's gone. Rav lachem, not for me, but for you, it was too long. Says the Kli Yakar, Moshe Rabbeinu told Klal Yisrael later in the very same parsha, Va'amar aleichem, and I said to you, Bosem ad har ha'omori, you have come to the mountain of the Amorites, Asher Adonai Eloheinu noseh lanu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving to us. Says the Kli Yakar, the pasuk should have said, Va'amar aleichem banu ad har ha'omori. We have come to the mountain of the Amorites that God is granting us. Why is it Basem that you have come? Says the Kli Yakar, Moshe Rabbeinu turned to them and he said, Elakach omar, atem Basem ad har ha'omori. You have arrived by the mountain of the Amorites. V'lo ani, but not me. Ki atem isatem datchem u'machshavtem mikol v'chol min har chorei. Because the moment that you left Har Sinai, you were pining to leave. You couldn't wait for the moment to depart. So you effectively banished from your memory and certainly your present mind all that transpired at Har Sinai. Avalani barai, tamin machshavti mishotetes shama. My mind, my thoughts, no matter where we are traveling toward, my mind constantly returns to the experience of Har Sinai, Ki'ilu adayin ani shama, as if I am still standing by Har Sinai with the kolos and the brakim, the lightning and the thunder, and the granting of the Torah Kadosha. Ki amamod hanichbad ahu, for that honorable and glorious moment, leneged einai hu tamid, is always and constantly before my eyes. When Yaakov Avinu was presented with the coat of Yosef by the brothers, who knew very well that Yosef was alive, but who presented it to their father Yaakov to establish within his mind that Yosef was no longer alive and he was torn asunder. And indeed, Yaakov said that he was torn by a wild animal. And all of Yaakov's sons and daughters, having shown him the coat filled with blood, when they got up to comfort him, to say, says the pasuk, he refused to be comforted. Says Rashi, why did he refuse? The reason is, because a person can simply never, ever, ever forgive himself, permit himself, enable himself to receive comfort for one who has passed away while the person is generally yet alive. Because regarding that which is no longer and which is passed on, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the ability of forgetfulness, but not regarding that which is alive. And I suggest to you that the reason that we are able to sit every year, thousands of years after the destruction of the Batei Mikdash, is not simply because, as the Rav Zatzal Salvation suggested, because it's as if it has just been removed from us and we see the fires burning, but rather because it is yet high, because we yet see it. We see the Beis HaMikdash, it is glory and its splendor before our eyes, standing in its beauty. It's still here. It is still here. And because it is in front of our eyes as if it has never left, and yet we are not able to enter its portals. Therefore, we engage in Avelus. And we sit so low. And we engage in mourning. But we do so because we see its beauty before us. It's like we never left Har Sinai. And our mind is constantly going back toward it because it's as if we were just granted the Torah. We just had the temples, engaging in the service and the avodah in every way. Similarly, I believe that those who enter Gaza, those heroes of Klal Yisrael, who enter Gaza every day to eradicate the scourge of Hamas, how do they do it? Because they see Yerushalayim in front of them, Yerushalayim HaBanuya. They see the temple of old before their eyes, feeling that it's only a question of moments until we will reassemble in Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh, the holy city, for the anointing of the Mashiach Tzidkenu and the proclamation that God has returned to his portals of old. They see that in front of their eyes, and it's never left their purview. And that's how they go in fighting, because they're fighting for not that which was, but as far as they're concerned, for that which is, momentarily. Indeed, the Gemara in Tainus tells us that Kol HaMesabel Yerushalayim, anyone who mourns properly for Yerushalayim, Zoche v'roa b'simchasa. It doesn't say Yizke v'yireh b'simchasa, that a person who mourns properly will merit and will ultimately see in this rejoicing. It's called a Mesabel Yerushalayim Zoche v'roa b'simchasa. The person sees now the jubilation of the rebuilt Jerusalem. That's why we have the 9 days. Not because simply of that which we once knew and lost, but because it stands and remains before our eyes as if it was never gone. And we want to be able to enter its gates. We can see it, but oh, how greatly we long for the ability to engage in the avodah on behalf of HaKadosh Baruch Hu once again. Refusing to be comforted, because it is not something that was lost, it is something that is chai before our eyes. Rav lachem sheves bahar hazeh. For us, it is here. For those who enter Gaza, it is here. And therefore, we say to the world, we are fighting for that which we yet see, for that which is right in front of us. And we lay claim to it, for it is ours, never to be permanently removed from us, ever within the annals of Jewish history. Halavai, that we should be zeichen, that this should be our last Tisha B'Av, Yirtzeh Hashem, and we should be able to dance together in Yerushalayim Habanuya in the year to come. Have a good Shabbos.